Good afternoon. Today, I want to make a case. In this age of AI, product organizations need to stop being feature factories and start driving and being revenue engines. Okay, this may sound like a provocative statement, but by the end of today, I hope you agree with me and you see it as obvious. Quick show of hands, how many of you have shipped something in the last 12 months that your customers barely noticed? Okay, that's what I thought. And how many of you have been asked to ship more next quarter? Exactly. So that's the loop that we're all stuck in. This is when we start confusing motion with progress. And AI is just accelerating that treadmill. I want to share a story from my own scars. Years ago, I was at a fast-growing SaaS company, and we spent 18 months building what we thought was going to be the killer enterprise feature. Okay, beautiful roadmaps, amazing demos. 6 months post-launch, no one used it. Okay, so what hurt the most wasn't the money that we spent, nor the time that we wasted. It was me realizing that we were optimizing for delivery, not impact. That's when it hit me. We're not really building business engines. We're building feature factories. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Blagoja. As you heard, for the last 25 years or so, I've been working at different companies in product engineering, design, and have helped companies through IPOs, acquisitions, and some 10x ARR type of growth. Companies like Usercentric, Simpler, Vindicia. And I've built multinational teams. And along the way, what I've learned is that product orgs don't necessarily fail because people are not smart or don't work hard enough. They fail because we're built for the wrong game. And that's the game I'm here to talk about today. Now, AI actually makes this worse. Imagine you have an intern that can spin out a prototype over a weekend using ChatGPT and Cursor. When that happens, your ability to ship fast means nothing if you're building the wrong thing. AI has made our ability to ship faster very, very cheap. Judgment is what actually matters. That's the currency of today. And this is the statement that I want to make today. Features are not your moat. Revenue models are. Because if your org is not designed around revenue, you're playing the wrong game. A lot of feature factories today, they still optimize for velocity. They measure how fast we ship, not necessarily what happens when we ship once it's out. And this stakeholder theater, it's still very present. This is when our stakeholders take our roadmaps and they treat them as commitments, not hypotheses. So AI has really has shone a light on all of this and has given us a very clear view into weak bets that we make, shallow strategies, and has exposed that illusion that progress, activity actually represents progress. So I've seen this firsthand. When we optimize for stakeholder opinions, we look very, very productive. We can organize and ship very nicely with beautiful roadmaps, meeting the deadlines, all of that, it's easy. What's not easy is when the market shifts. And that's when we run into trouble. And that's why we need a different operating system, different model for us to move forward and to stay relevant in this space. Now, a lot of product teams today are still optimized for predictability, not performance. We optimize over alignment and not acceleration. And when that happens, we get into a state that basically optimizes for doing more and more without necessarily focusing on impact. And this is where we need to start thinking about tying everything that we do, all decisions that we make, back to what Rich was talking earlier, to revenue. And this is what I want to introduce, what I think about this. It's our concept of this new operating model, this new operating system, revenue first product operating system. It's built for speed, it's built for customer value, and not for stakeholder approval. It's built on 3 principles. The first is customer economics, not stakeholder approvals. So all questions should answer this one simple question: how do we help our customers make or save money? The second principle, outcome teams, not feature teams. Don't put teams together based on what you're building. Put teams together based on what the outcome is. And form these teams around opportunities, not outputs. And the third, the one North Star metric, which is business impact per product team member. Because headcount is not the scarcity today. Its focus is. And every decision that we do should answer this one question: how does this help what we do? How does it help our customers make or save money? Now, how do we operationalize this from a team structure standpoint? Forget the 2-pizza rule. Think Hollywood. Think production crews, that cross-functional teams come together around an opportunity. They have a measurable and deliverable output, and then they reassemble based on the next challenge. Now, when you do this at scale, everything changes. You start getting questions from engineers like, why are we doing this? Is this really moving the business? And just that level of thinking already can save you months of wasted work and changes the whole sentiment around the company. Now, this is not just the structure itself is not enough. For this to work, you also need a continuous flow of insights. And let's talk about discovery. So if there's one word in product management that's been watered down, it's discovery. Because when we talk about discovery, most of us imply that we do some user research, we do some user interviews, we have some surveys, we have a Notion page that basically puts all the quotes from customers, but they never really move anything on your roadmap. Okay? So discovery, it's not data collection. It's making decisions. It should drive making decisions. And if your discovery doesn't change what you do on your roadmap, if it doesn't make you think about where to invest and what to kill, you're not doing discovery. You're playing theater. And what best performing product teams today do is they start building these insight engines where you have a constant flow of signals from your customers, from the market, from your competitors. And these engines are still built on some traditional concepts. They are still using user research. You're still doing behavioral analysis. You have an AI kind of synthesize all your support tickets, and it's able to look at even competition, the competitors' release notes and patents and things like that. All of that, it's absolutely needed to have a constant flow of continuous feedback that informs sharper decision making. It ties your old signals that you encounter into your strategy. Take an example with Notion. Sure, we've all seen or heard or used Notion. they didn't just use AI as a feature. They embed it directly into how they listen. And what they do is they feed all of their support tickets, all of the tweets and the posts on out on the social media into AI. It synthesizes it and it cohorts and it analyzes that data and it provides these weekly digests to the product team. So one product manager there told me that they stopped, once they implemented this, they stopped debating about opinions. Now they're talking data. And that's what actually made them grow 3x over the last 2 years or so. Not because now they're doing faster things, but because they're actually putting a lot more, they're working smarter rather than faster. And AI, them using AI, it basically exposed some of the pieces that what makes our craft more valuable, which is judgment. Now, let's talk about how AI can help you operationalize this type of operating model that will push forward your organization. I use this 70-20-10 kind of rule, not necessarily as a framework or as a rule, but more about focusing, like where do I focus, where do I put my energy, and where do my teams actually get the most out of AI today. So 70% of all your work should be AI accelerated. So that's the work that we know it's valuable. That's the work that we already do. And whether it's execution with data, analytics, even writing, and this is where it's not about saving headcounts, and it's not about fewer people. It's about acceleration. It's about compression from the moment you have a signal to the moment you actually have an insight. AI can help there immensely. The 20% of your work should be AI with AI-led experiments. Let AI go to work. Give it a very confined space where it can build user flows, it can do prototyping, it can do some flows that can test your real user's behavior. Have it optimize it. Here you will find insights that you would have never originally found by your teams. This is how innovation can sneak in through the side door, even when you're not thinking about it. And then the last 10%, this is purely human. So this is where you bring your judgment. This is where you bring your taste, your empathy, and this is what makes our craft irreplaceable, that no algorithm can actually replicate. AI, actually, it's not cutting jobs. AI, for product teams, AI exposes what actually makes our craft special and why we need product people. That kind of brings me to my next point, where we all talk about how AI is going to replace jobs. Okay, it's a common topic these days, and what's important to notice is that AI is redefining our jobs, and you will have, some functions, some roles will fade, new ones will emerge, they will get redefined. Let's say you have something that's coordination-heavy job. AI can do this pretty much better than any Slack could. But then at the same time, you have jobs that are, not jobs, but roles that are more around training your models with your product taste, with what your product stands for, what are your boundaries, all things like that. These are new roles that are emerging, or a BI analyst that basically it's a product person that it's very embedded into dashboards and managing data on a day-to-day with these insight engines, rather than spending their time in Jira with development. The point here is that the future is not necessarily men versus machine. It's the teams that have judgment as a product, where judgment is the product. And I want to give a couple of examples of how companies are using this into their own culture, into their own models. And Stripe is the first one. They used to do this traditional six-week cycle of product research, and where and with AI now they built this AI pipeline where experimentation, where they allow AI to build new workflows within a certain confines, test it on synthetic data, and then highlight the high performers back to the product team for decision. So the judgment, so what that allows you to do is bring that judgment that we were talking about, that decision making, that taste, and into the flow. And because of that, they've not only shipped more, their conversion rates have gone significantly higher. Another example is Notion. So similar to the previous example that I was giving, Notion has embedded AI into their listening nervous system. What that means is that they constantly feed all of their support tickets, all of their mentions on the social media, all of their Reddits and other forums. And what AI does for them is it analyzes, it cohorts, it brings things that work, it brings things that are fading, things that are rising, potential issues, and basically it's giving them live customer insights. The same person from Notion told me that what they're doing, they used to talk about what do our customers have or need last month to what they do and need this morning. So AI allows us to do this at a much faster pace and inform us of building things very, very closely to the truth, which is a very clear picture of where your customers are today, their reality. Because of that, they grew revenue much faster than they normally would have, and because of their ability to build closer to truth. And I like to say this, AI doesn't really replace a strategy. We hear this, that AI is going to replace everything. What AI does, it rewards the teams that have a strategy. So we've seen two examples with Notion and Stripe and how these teams operationalize this in their own companies. But they didn't just adapt AI. They transformed how their product teams make decisions, how they value success, how they measure success. But how can you do this in your own organization? So first thing, stop measuring motion. Okay? Stop measuring motion and start measuring value. Stop measuring how busy your team is. Nobody cares. Stop talking about points, burn down charts. Stop talking about things that represent motion, because that's what most people equate in the current model with progress. Next, start holding revenue reviews instead of roadmap reviews. Start asking the question, what did we ship that actually had a business impact? It changes the whole outlook on how teams look at what we actually do. And the last thing is stop shielding your engineers from your customers, because the further they are from the customers, the more you're losing. The closer the engineers are to the customers, the better they build. And a few things that you can start doing, and start small. You can give an engineer or a designer a full ownership of a segment of your customer. From feedback to prioritization on your roadmap to outcomes. Watch what happens. This is when that mindset shift alone can save you months of wasted work. It can save you months of wasted work, and also it changes the ownership and the accountability of the organization. And here's what you can do in the next 90 days. Your goal is not to ship more. Your goal is to make every decision make its way, earn its place on the balance sheet. And once you go through this whole transformation, you would want to measure everything. You're going to want to have new OKRs, new dashboards, new metrics. Don't. One metric that basically matters the most, and this is revenue per product team member. This one single number will tell you if you are a cost center or a growth engine. When every product decision connects to revenue, politics disappear. I'm kidding. They don't. So here's what I want to leave you today with. Your product organization is either a cost center or a growth engine. There is no middle ground. In today's age, with today's tools, there is no middle ground. AI has really exposed and shown light on weak bets and on the illusion that activity means progress. So the future doesn't belong to teams that are going to build more features. The future belongs to teams that take clarity into momentum, judgment into leverage, and AI into acceleration. The feature factory is dead. Long live the value factory. Thank you. Oh, and before I go, just one more point. Go. Because the best thing about talks like this, it's not what happens on stage. It's what happens afterwards. And if you heard anything here today that sparked an idea or challenged your thinking, or you just want to talk shop, please connect. You can reach me on LinkedIn or my website. And I love to talk shop and talk to people that want to build better products, better teams, and keep their sanity in the way. Thank you.